Future ex-fiancé is angry because I don't want to share my son's money. I, 35 female, met my fiancé 2 years ago. My son, 4, gets on well with him, and my ex-husband, my son's father, also likes him. Now to the point. 3 years ago, I won a large sum of money in the lottery. Not millions, but enough for a nice life if I work normally, and a good start for my son later. 75% went into a savings account that my son will have access to when he's 21. My fiancé always thought he had plenty of money and never let me correct him. I insisted on a prenuptial agreement, and for that the finances were disclosed. Now the amount in my son's savings account is about 5 times more than anything my fiancé has. Completely enraged, he left the lawyer's office and ignored all calls for 2 days. For me, that was the end of the relationship, and I wrote to him saying that he could have the ring back. A week later, he was at the door. He would love me, but was in shock and now wanted details of where the money had come from. He also told me that he had a 5-year-old daughter from a previous relationship, and that it would only be fair to split the money so that his daughter could also benefit from it. He sees it as justified, as I got the money through luck and not through performance. I gave him back the engagement ring and kicked him out of my apartment. Since then, I've been getting messages from various social media profiles and cell phone numbers that I would be the a-hole who is ruining his daughter's future. I only found out about his daughter that day. I never even saw any photos or anything like that in the past years. Edit. I probably have some explaining to do. In my country, lottery winners are never revealed. Sometimes they say in which region a ticket was bought, but never more. Apart from the financial security for my son, there is no sign of the win in my family. I used my part of the win to pay off debts and bought myself a car. Neither new nor anything special. We live in the same rented apartment, and I still have my job that pays the monthly bills. I treat myself to a 2-week vacation in Australia once a year, but never in luxury. My son wears Temu clothes. He loves the designs, and I don't have any designer stuff myself, and always wear my clothes up. So there was never any sign that my fiancé was a gold digger. On the contrary, I had to fight for him not to keep inviting me to dinner or paying for weekend trips. I mostly turned them down. I grew up in a financially unstable family, so I was always very concerned about being frugal. My son's savings account is also closed to withdrawals before his 21st birthday. You can put money into it, but you can't take it out. And even then, only he is allowed to do so. I also will inform and prepare him for that moment. He will not be lost and alone with that. He also getting $20 per month. He can do with that whatever he wants. And even now he can save and think about. So 21 is a realistic age. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. You did the right thing breaking things off. Stay broken up. This dude will ruin your life otherwise. Yes, for me this relationship is over. I'm just shocked at the games he's playing now. I still haven't found out whether he really has a daughter or whether he made it up so he could disappear with half the money. Neither keeping his daughter a secret nor making one up to get half your money is a desirable action in a fiancé. I'm glad he's now your ex. You knew this guy for 2 years, got engaged and didn't know he had a daughter? And he's upset that you didn't mention your son's money? Well, I tried to tell him about my finances. He never wanted to know. He always were kind of, yeah, I'm the man. You don't have to worry. Another red flag. Finances are one of those major things that you always need to have a good long conversation about when things get serious. If he was brushing off that conversation, there was something shady going on with his own finances. Like he doesn't nearly have the funds he presents himself as having. I don't care if the man is going to be supporting me. We need to know where we both are with finances and debt. He needs to know if he's going to be assuming responsibility for your car note, your house note, your credit card debt, your student loans, or if you have some massive pile of funds he won't be able to touch. Or if he really won't need to be the man because your family is fabulously wealthy. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my partner's son that I don't owe him anything? I've been dating Mark for 3 years. He has a 19-year-old son, Ethan, and I have a 15-year-old daughter, Lily. Mark moved in with us about a year ago. Ethan blames me for his parents' divorce, even though they split a year before I met Mark. From the start, he's been cruel. calling me names, even vandalizing my car with his friends a couple years back. After Mark moved in, Ethan's behavior got worse. I nearly ended things, but instead I encouraged Mark to take Ethan on a solo trip to talk and set boundaries. When they got back, Ethan calmly told me, "You're not my family. You never will be. I'll be civil, but don't expect anything from me." Then he walked out. Since then, he's had no relationship with me or my daughter. He visits sometimes, but won't speak to either of us. Now I'm planning a Florida trip for Mark, Lily, and me. Mark suggested inviting Ethan. I said he's welcome, but only if he or Mark pays for his flight. Ethan doesn't work, and Mark can't afford it. When Ethan heard this, he said I should pay if I want to fix things. I reminded him of his own words last year and told him, "I owe you nothing. You or your dad can pay if you want to come." Now I'm being called petty and told I'm the adult who needs to make the effort. But I feel like respect goes both ways. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. If Mark wants Ethan to come, he can cover the cost. Absolutely agree. Mark wanting Ethan there means it's his responsibility to make it happen. I've already shown patience and respect. Setting boundaries isn't petty, it's healthy. Thank you for your support. I'm always astounded by the fact that women stay in relationships with men who allow them to be disrespected to such an extent. You're telling me that your man could not manage his disgusting abusive son even when he vandalized your property, which you should have sued him for, and is probably dependent on you financially because you said he can't afford to buy a plane ticket for his good-for-nothing son and looks to you for that. And you are still with him? At some point, you need to ask yourself what kind of example you're setting for your young daughter regarding the toleration of abuse, be it physical or emotional. Just cut things off. Exactly, like, where is the common sense in these types of posts? Nothing about her posts makes her partner and his son sound desirable. Couldn't be me in a 3-year relationship being talked down and disrespected by a teenager. The lack of self-awareness, too, to type this whole post and still send it. Not the a-hole. You are being generous by even allowing him to come. Why would you pay to get verbally abused on vacation? If Ethan is 19, he is also adult. You can tell him that perhaps you don't want to fix things. Honestly, OP should not allow him to come even if he or Mark paid. Why should OP pay to go on a vacation with her daughter that will be made miserable if Ethan attends? In addition, considering Mark lives in your home, Ethan should have to either be fully respectful to you and your daughter, as in while he doesn't need to full-on engage in conversation, he does need to acknowledge you too and say hello, or not be allowed in the house. Mark can visit with him elsewhere if he isn't willing to have basic manners. You and your daughter shouldn't be subjected to that drama and stress in your own home. Next story. Am I the a-hole for reminding my dad's wife that she was supposed to be my mom's best friend, but instead was a backstabber who cheated with her best friend's husband? I 17 males live in a toxic household, and I contribute to that, but I want to know if I'm the a-hole for this particular part of it. So, my parents were married and seemed happy when everything fell apart. My mom found out she had a brain tumor, and on that same day, she found out my dad was sleeping with her best friend. I was 10 at the time, and for like 5 weeks, life was crazy, with my dad and Haley, who was meant to be my mom's best friend, trying to make her forgive them. My mom started having seizures because of the tumor, and I think because of the stress too, and she died 5 weeks and 2 days after she was diagnosed with her brain tumor. My dad and Haley moved in together after my mom died, and they decided they would try to raise me and my sister together. My sister was 8 at the time, and my dad has said she took her cues from me. But we did not accept Dad and Haley, and we acted up a lot. I yelled at them, called them names, refused to listen when they asked me to do something, and I told other people what they'd done. All of Dad's friends, all of Haley's friends, and our neighbors knew, and mostly because of me. I interrupted their wedding a bunch. My sister did, but not as much. We wanted to live somewhere else and they refused. They got us all into therapy, and I didn't put any work into fixing things. My dad and Haley had 2 kids, and I refused to help or care. I make a point of telling or showing what they are and what I think of them. For my dad, that meant cutting him out of photos, and I say every now and again that I'll change my last name to Mom's. She never changed hers when they married. And I talk about my maternal grandpa being the man I want to be most like, because he's the best guy I know. But with Haley, I remind her every time that she was supposed to be mom's best friend and she was a backstabber who cheated with my dad instead. And I do this in front of other people if she tries to act like my parent or take praise for my good behavior around other people. She told me I need to stop bringing it up several times, but I ignore her. I tell her I won't ever stop. Her aunt died last week and she told me I needed to help out around the house more while she was with her mom and her cousins. I refused, and she told me this is what the oldest sibling and oldest child does, and I reminded her I wasn't hers and brought up the affair again. She broke down, and I told her I didn't feel sorry for her, and she told me she felt guilty enough, and like mom haunted her enough, and she said I was doing nothing but driving her crazy and making her feel like she had to isolate from everyone, because otherwise the whole world would know with the way I act. She told me I was bullying her and that I should go after Dad and not her. I told her I'll go after both until I can cut them out of my life for good. Then I told her she didn't deserve to have a happy life after what she did. My aunt, Dad's sister, came over after Haley called her, and she asked me to stop bringing it up. She told me Haley and my dad don't need to be forgiven, but that reminding Haley like this and shaming her and making it difficult for her to have relationships where people won't know and judge isn't okay because the kids she and Dad have together will suffer. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Do you and your sister have another relative that you can live with? If so, I think it is time your dad lets you go. You experienced an enormous trauma and still have not healed. It really seems like you will not recover until you don't live with your dad and stepmom. Yeah, I agree with you. Sometimes healing just isn't possible in the same environment that caused the pain. Getting space might be the only way forward. At least a different perspective. Get out of there for a while, kid, and get some therapy to help you. Your story broke my heart, kid. You are so angry with their deception and pretending to be decent people. They thought they could just sweep this under the rug and earn respect. Nope, I agree with you that they are shameless and gross. Scumbags don't deserve respect. Not the a-hole. They made this mess and then made 2 more kids. To hell with both of them. They also basically killed his mother too. I know brain tumor blah blah, but honestly, the heartbreak, betrayal and stress would have made it so much worse. I am not at all a medical professional, but I do believe that your outlook can help or hinder recovery from things. And you know it didn't help in this case. Not the a-hole. Fully support you. Your dad is a POS. He didn't need to move her in. I'm sorry, I'd legally change my name too. Importantly, it is definitely time to look at planning the next steps. What's your plan to get out of there? How will you support your sister? This is where I would be focusing my energy. Once you're out of there, I genuinely hope you can help and get help for the trauma. Unfortunately, being in this headspace will hurt you more than them. Look at your whole life ahead of you and how you can be happy. That's what your mom would want. Focus on that. My plan is to go to my grandparents' house when I'm 18 and stay in regular contact with my sister. See her every day if I have to until she can leave. I have a couple of apprenticeship options that I'm looking into as well. Last story. Boyfriend is prioritizing his daughter's pre-K graduation over my college graduation. Hi y'all. I, 26 female, am graduating from college with my bachelor's this June. My boyfriend, 29 male, is graduating next year. We've been dating for over 2 years and know for sure we're the right one for the other. He has 2 daughters, 6 and 4, from a previous marriage, and both of their graduations, kindergarten and pre-K, are happening on the same day as my college graduation. Boyfriend and I have been lucky enough to be in the same classes for the last 2 years, but this degree has taken me 8 years, 3 colleges, and 2 states to get. I've really been struggling, and I'd love to feel support for something I feel like I can finally present to the world. He said he had something to tell me that might be upsetting to me in the middle of lecture last week. He's planning on skipping my graduation so he can make it to his 4-year-old's pre-K graduation. In his words, he'll be prioritizing that. To be honest, I completely saw this coming. I don't want to change his mind, but I'm struggling with how to handle this. I'm a preschool teacher myself, and can assume this graduation will consist of a song and a snack, with time spent with his challenging ex and her current partner for half an hour max. I've been lucky to have every class with him the last 2 years, and I am so proud that he's been able to see the progress I've made. I told him so, and he just emphasized that we'll continue our schooling together, so it's not a big deal that he's missing this. I feel otherwise. I don't have many friends, so my mother, father, and a close family friend are coming out to celebrate with me. I'm so grateful for their support, but I'm worried I'll feel empty without him there. It's our weekend for visits with his daughters, so I'm planning on him being occupied with his kids while I celebrate with family. How do I handle this as an adult who is invested in these kids' lives, but also hurt that I don't get to share this moment with my partner? He's prioritizing his daughter, and that's important. It may not seem big to you, but it's a big thing for her to have her daddy there. I completely understand how important this is to you. You've worked so hard and should be super proud, but don't make him pick between you and his child. I could never imagine making him choose. I knew my role when I chose to be with him. I'm just feeling selfish since it feels like a big deal to me too. And that's totally okay. It is a big deal. You worked so hard. Congratulations on your degree though. This internet stranger is super proud. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Here is the thing. No matter what happens with his children, he will still be their father. They will remember if he skips things, however minor, to prioritize you. Conversely, you two could break up in a year. Then what? He passed on things that are milestones for his children, for someone he's no longer with? This is the sacrifice adults must make when getting in a relationship, when kids are involved from a previous relationship. You have to understand, he has to prioritize their needs over yours, because that is the responsibility he accepted when becoming a parent. Being there as a parent is so very important. OP understands that the boyfriend can't be there and why. A 4-year-old won't understand why daddy isn't there at this most important in this time moment of her little life. She'll remember that too. OP, I'm not arguing that you two aren't meant for one another, but children should always come first over relationships. Still, having healthy relationships is important, but you, as an adult, need to understand that this is going to shape and form this little girl into the kind of adult that she witnesses, and based on how she's treated. I work with neglected and abused kids. Some remember neglect and forgetfulness subconsciously from as young as a few months, sometimes younger. It's not abuse for him not to go to her graduation, but it's a core memory. This memory could reflect on you too. Resentment can begin early, and a child shouldn't feel like they're competing with a grown adult for love. Like you said, it'll probably be a 45-minute thing, and then he can come to you with the kiddos and also celebrate you. Make it a joint thing. Share this with her and tell her how you're graduating as well. This bonding will be worth it, I promise. Edit. Thank you guys. I know he's an incredible dad, and I admire that. I'm struggling with my own selfishness and first real adult relationship. Perhaps this wasn't the right sub, but I'm just struggling putting my own feelings aside for this. Everyone is right so far though, haha.